Thank you very much, Desiree. We can never reiterate how much this particular day is one of the biggest days on the academic calendar in this country, as we know that the 12-year journey to schooling career actually comes to an end following this particular examinations. Well, joining me right now to speak about the preparedness of the Gauteng Province about these particular examinations is Mabona, who's just going to tell us a bit more about what went into their preparations for this particular examinations. But Steve, if you can just elaborate on that.
Thanks very much. We prepared our candidates, taking from teaching them remotely. You know that we have smart boards in our, schools in Gauteng. We will have a tutor that will be remotely teaching while they connect. And we also had walk-in centers where on holidays and on weekends, they will then be going to those centers, with taking education there. And we also took them to residential camps. That we actually did those the service delivery, protests, disruptions in some of our schools, the area like Tsakani, Guatema. Most of the times learners were not in the classroom there. So we took them for a lengthy period in some of those camps just to prepare them and make sure that they are ready. So when we look at the camps, like visiting them, learners were quite happy. They were appreciative of what the department did for them, and actually promised us that they will make it, for us actually we need more bachelor passes more than anything.
Yes. And we remember, during 2020 and 2021, during the hard lockdown, schools were actually targeted and they were being vandalized, and there were cases of arson that were being opened as well. How did you overcome that particular challenge, and what other challenges have we had to overcome to get to where we are today?
Well, that was the biggest challenge for us. You will know that when you vandalize or you decide to torch a school, we don't go back and repair it. But to a certain extent, that those that would have been vandalized through criminal elements, them for this period. So over and above that, we are very much prepared, and we can assure that we will reclaim the crown because we are talking big numbers in Gauteng. We're talking over 194,000, candidates that will be sitting for this examination. So we are quite convinced that we will make it.
Yes, and I believe that in 2019 you guys came second to the Free State Province, which was number one in terms of the best performing province academically in terms of matric pass rate. What are your projections for this year, especially after what you've overcome in the past 2 years?
Well, looking at the numbers, we're talking of an overall number, and that will dictate that. Because the last cohort gave us over 55,000 bachelor passes. We expect more from this cohort. And, the number one will automatically happen. But we are not fixated about that. Our concern is the class. Make sure that we improve on what learners will be attaining in the classroom. We want learners to leave our environment where they will be empowered to even go in the corporate world. We continue to introduce schools of specialization, and our aim is to make sure that we open or launch more of such schools, which they assist to close the skill gap, so that learners are empowered from our environment.
Yes. And there's the issue of the teachers who were disgruntled because they were offered 3%. How are you managing that sensitive matter? Because, anytime there can be, disruptions or anything like that. But we heard the minister say that they've in from the teachers themselves. As a province, how are you managing that?
No, we are working very closely with our labor. The first thing that we did with the new MEC was to meet labor, was to meet SGB formations, SGB associations. Those are critical stakeholders in our space. And we advised the MEC to say this is a space that you need to meet and take them into confidence and on how we're going to be working with them. So we did those meetings. There were no hostilities, and they accepted the MEC, and they will be working with them. And he promised actually to have one-on-one meetings with all our labor formations. So we don't have a challenge really there, but you'll know that the biggest formation on coming to the labor in our space is and don't have problems there. And we are quite happy that they are amenable to what has been offered. But safe to say that we work very closely with our educators, and are hopeful that no, we're not going to experience any disruptions. And we heard that SADC was calling upon all their members not to assist learners to, to cheat, which is something, that we really appreciate as the department, to say, let's be committed to our pledge. I mean, we signed a pledge, with the learners to say they will behave the way they expected in the examinations.
You heard there, this is Mr. Steve Mabona, the spokesperson for the Basic Education Department here in the province of Gauteng, actually saying that they don't expect to see any nasty surprises during the course of this particular final year matric examination. And where we are here at the Nellmapius Secondary School, the examination has actually moved on quite smoothly thus far with no interruptions. And with that, it's back to studio.